Welcome, friends. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to do a little yoga today. Let's start out with a breath. So, sitting up nice and tall, you can have your legs crossed or legs out straight, whatever's comfortable. And if it's comfortable, you can close your eyes. And just take a moment just to kind of settle in, sit bones into the earth or your mat, or if you're sitting up on something. And you can just start by taking a few regular breaths. Excellent. And then when you're ready, we're going to start with extended exhale. So we're going to inhale normal and then exhale. See if you can extend the exhale longer than the inhale. And again, inhale and exhale, drawing it out as far as comfortable. And then when you're ready, we'll do one more like that. Inhale and then exhale. Nice and long and soft. Excellent. All right, take 2 or 3 regular breaths. Excellent. And one more. Nice. Okay. So let's move a little bit here. So we're going to extend the legs out if they're not already. And we'll start with the small joints here. So we're going to start with the feet. So we're going to draw the toes gently back towards the shoulders, giving the knees a little bend so that the heels don't pop up off the floor. And then releasing that, we're going to point and flex. So you can point one foot at a time and then the other, or you can do both together. Excellent. Release that, and let's do circles around. So we're going to do circles around, do one at a time, both together or opposites. And do both directions, one and then the other way. Just getting a lot of movement in there. Excellent. All right, let's release that. And then we're going to do supinate and pronate. So the sole of the foot goes in towards the center, and then the pinky toe comes back towards the shoulder. So it's just back and forth. Do it the same or opposite. So they both come in together and then both go out. Excellent. All right, and release that one. And then we're going to do the last one. We're going to do windshield wipers. Nice. All right, so noticing that movement's coming up from that hip joint. Excellent. Release that and shake it out. Nice. So option 2, sit cross-legged again or keep the legs straight out. We're going to move up to the wrists. So bringing the arms out in front, we're going to tuck the thumbs under, wrap the fingers around the thumbs, and make circles with the wrists. And you can do, you guessed it, same, opposite. Let's do both directions. And then when you're ready, getting into bigger circles, getting into the elbows and the shoulders. Feels great. Very nice. All right, release that, and then we're going to shake it out. Let's bring the palms together, interlace the fingers, and make figure eights. Nice. We're going to pause for a moment, pull the hands apart, and switch which fingers on top. Might feel a little awkward, making the brain do a little work there. Excellent. We're going to release that and shake it out. Nice. So let's move up to the neck, and then we'll do the shoulders, and then we'll get the big spine moving. All right. So sitting up nice and tall, we're going to inhale. On the exhale, chin drops down to the chest. On the inhale, looking up just as far as is comfortable. And then exhale all the way back down, chin to chest. Nice. Inhale, looking up. Exhale down. Excellent. One more full time all the way up. Inhale. And exhale all the way back down. Nice. So inhale to neutral. And then we're going to do ear to shoulder. So we'll exhale one side, in ear to shoulder. Inhale center. Exhale other side, ear to shoulder. Nice. Inhale back to center, back to the first side with the exhale. Inhale, bring it up to center. Exhale, other side. Nice. Inhale, center. We're going to do one more time each side. Exhale, ear to shoulder. We're going to bring that same arm out and over, wrapping it. Hand on the opposite side of the head, making space between the ear and shoulder. And this is where we're using our yoga breath here. Inhale to any tension that you're finding in the neck or the shoulder or the spine. And use the exhale to release the tension. Inhale and exhale. Nice. To come out, we're going to inhale. Head comes up, release the arm down, and then exhale other side. That arm comes out and over, resting on the side of the head. And using that yoga breath again, inhale into any tension that you're finding. Exhale, release the tension with the breath. Excellent. When you're ready, I'm going to release. Inhale. Head comes up, release the arm back down. Nice. One more movement with the neck here. So inhale, looking straight ahead. On the exhale, we're going to turn towards the first side. Chin's coming towards the shoulder. May not always reach all the way. That's okay. Inhale back to center. Exhale, other side. Inhale, center. Exhale back to the first side. Inhale, center. Exhale, second side. Nice. Inhale, center. One more time each side. Exhale to the first side. Inhale, center. Exhale, last time, last side. Nice. Inhale back to center. All right. So let's do shoulders, and then we'll do the spine. All right. So we're going to inhale forward and up. Exhale down and back. Nice. So we're in reverse direction. Inhale back and up. Exhale down and forward. Excellent. All right. Couple more either direction, whichever one you prefer, or third option, straight up and down. Inhale and exhale. Excellent. All right. Let's do the spine. So we'll do the 6 directions here. To start, if you're sitting cross-legged, hands come in front of the knees. If the legs are out front, hands under the thighs. We're going to exhale back to cat. Drop the chin, we're rounding the tailbone. Back body towards that back wall. On the inhale, we're reversing that curve, looking up towards the ceiling. This is our cow pose. Exhale back to cat. Just back and forth between the two. Opening up, warming up the spine. Excellent. One more in each direction. And then back to neutral. Excellent. All right, so let's go ahead and do the second two directions, which is our lateral. So we're going to take one hand down to the mat. Inhale, bring this other arm up. And just as far as is comfortable, exhale, bring it back. As you keep doing this, you might find out that the body's warming up a little bit more and you can go a little deeper, but don't overdo it. We're just getting the body ready, warmed up and open. So keeping this hand on the floor, actually pushing into the floor, is going to keep that opposite knee from popping up. Just going nice and slow, noticing the space in between the ribs, opening. Excellent. Let's do one more time each side. Excellent. And then the last two directions are the twists, left and right. So let's do this. And again, doing it gently. We want to keep this twist in the upper half to upper third of the spine. The lower down we go on the spine, the less rotation that you have. So we don't want to overdo it, especially as we're just starting out here. So we're going to inhale nice and tall. Exhale, we're going to turn to the first side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, second side. Back to center. Let's do one more time each side. Excellent. And then back to center. So we did laterals and twists. We want to get that spine back to symmetrical. So we're going to bring the legs out in front and do a couple of forward folds. Just going to come down off of this. All right, so legs out in front. And if you want, you can kind of pound the legs into the mat. Wake them up a little bit if they're uncomfortable. Excellent. And then we're going to do some forward folds. So we're going to use our friend gravity here. So we're going to inhale the arms up. Exhale, we're hinging at that hip joint. Fold forward. Wherever you reach, we're just going to tap down. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, fold forward, tap down. Inhale, bring it back up. Excellent. Let's do one more. Inhale up. And then exhale down. We're going to grab the legs wherever you can reach. You don't have to strain too far. We're going to pull the chest forward. And then exhale, rolling down the spine. Drop the chin towards the chest. And let the legs relax. Let the back body relax. And take a couple breaths here. Each time you inhale, you might come up a little bit. And then exhale, you might sink down a little bit more. Excellent. One more breath here. And then when you're ready to come out, extend the arms over the legs, push the legs into the floor. Inhale, coming up with a nice strong spine. And then exhale and release. Nice. All right, so let's come up to hands and knees. I'm going to bring a little blanket under my knees here. So hands and knees. And let's do our cat and cow traditional hands and knees. We're going to start with an exhale cat. Tuck the chin and the tailbone. On the inhale, reverse the curve without dumping the belly towards the floor, looking towards the horizon if you can. Exhale back to cat. Inhale, cow. Back and forth a few times, maybe noticing the difference seated versus hands and knees with our cat and cow. Excellent. And then we're going to come back to neutral. Let's do a fun spinal balance. So we're going to start with extending one leg back and the opposite arm comes forward. If it's too much to lift that leg, you can leave the toes on the floor. Take a couple breaths here. Excellent. And release. Take a breath in the middle. And then going to the other side, extend that leg back. You can keep the toes on the floor or extend the leg up. Opposite arm comes forward. Take a couple breaths here. Excellent. And then when you're ready, release that back down. Let's do, we're going to do cat, cow, child's pose. So at any point during this round, if you want to stay in your child's pose, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, we'll start with the exhale. So cat, and then inhale cow, and then exhale cat down to child's pose. Excellent. Inhale, you can come back up through the forearms, back up to cow. Exhale, cat, down to child's pose. Nice. Inhale, coming back up. Exhale, cat, down to child's pose. Excellent. We're going to do one more round. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, cat. And then this time we're going to pause in our child's pose for a few breaths. So options, big toes together, knees can be wide, making room for the belly. You can stack the hands, rest the forehead. You can have the arms out, resting the forehead on the floor. Or if it's more comfortable to be in modified puppy pose, hips up, head down. Any of those options. We'll be here for a couple of breaths. See if you can bring the breath into the back of the body. Imagine that your hand is here and you're moving the hand upwards with the breath. Nice. All right, we're going to slowly make our way up back to table. And then from here, we're going to come into downward facing dog. I'm going to turn so that I have my feet on the mat. And then also you can see what I'm doing. All right, so typically with down dog, I walk the hands forward a little bit. I'm going to curl the toes. On the inhale, lift the hips up. And then I usually step the feet out a little bit wider. That's just more comfortable for me. And we want the crown of the head pointing down towards the floor. You can look back at the knees. And then we're going to, if you like, walk the dog. Bend one knee, extend the opposite heel towards the floor. All right. And then the next option is to come up on the toes, lifting the heels. Excellent. And then when you're ready to come out, we're going to look up at the hands and walk the feet forward, or look back at the feet and walk the hands back. Take a moment in your forward fold. We'll shake the head, yes or no. And then when you're ready to come out, we're going to bend the knees nice and deep. Arms out to the side, push the feet in, inhale, coming up with that nice straight spine. And then we're gonna bring the hands all the way up, palms together, hands to heart. Excellent. All right. So let me get just a sip of water here. All right, much better. Okay, so let's come into a fabulous mountain pose first here. So what it looks like, you can bring the toes together, heels a couple inches apart. Do hip width, shoulder width, whatever feels right for your balance today. Somewhere in between. If you don't like where your feet are, you can always move them. All right, so let's just do a couple of options here. We know there's a lot, so let's just do a few. So let's find that neutral pelvic tilt. So I'll go sideways here. So tilting back, tilting forward. We want to have that as neutral as comfortable. Maybe a little bend in the knees. And then let's kind of fix the shoulders here a little bit. So imagining that the collarbones are coming away from each other on the front of the body or on the back, the little shoulder blade points right here, drawing those together. All right, so those are kind of our options for this upper rib cage. And then most important, we're breathing. Oh, another one is where you want your hands. They can be on your sides or pointing or palms facing forward. So if you have your balance and you want, I invite you to close your eyes, or you can, hold on to something if that feels okay. And just imagine so that we're deep rooting the feet into the earth, all the way down, drawing roots in your mind, using that imagination. And at the same time, the feet are going down, the crown of the head is growing up towards the sky. So feeling that elongation in the spine, that axial extension, which is seventh direction of the spine. We don't do that one as much, although we're doing it with spinal balance for sure. All right, so feeling those two opposite directions. Let's take one or two more breaths here. Excellent. And then coming out, releasing. I like to do a little shaking after some poses. If you feel like you've built up a little tension, it's good to release those muscles a little bit. All right, next, let's do some moving balance. So I say this a lot, but typically we don't fall when we're just standing. Usually we're in motion and then we trip, or the knee buckles or whatever it is. So by using moving balance, we are teaching muscle memory back to recovery. So we can get a little wobbly and then come back up. All right, so let's start with palm tree pose. First option with palm tree pose is coming up on the toes. We'll break down the whole thing. And if you know it, you can go already to the whole expression of the pose. All right. Second option is arms up overhead. And this is also axial extension. When we're lifting the arms like this, we're extending the spine. All right, putting the two together, inhale, up on the toes, arms come up. And if it's too wobbly, you can come back to just doing one, or you can hold on to one side and then switch. Excellent. All right, let's do one more. Nice. And then, if you want, anytime you can shake it up. Excellent. All right, our next one is Karate Kid or Flying Crane. Let's do opposite today. So what that means is we start with the hands out to the side. We're going to lift one knee up, touch it with the opposite hand, and back down. And then the other side. So if you can, while that knee is up, pause for a moment before you set it back down. If not, that's okay. Keep it going. Or if you want to make it more of a challenge, stay with that knee up higher longer. That's going to build strength on that straight leg, causing more concentration. Excellent. All right, let's do one more time each side or finish off evenly. Nice. And again, if it feels good to shake, shake it out. All right, so next let's come in to our warrior one. But before we do that, let's move the feet a little bit here and kind of get some movement in the feet. All right, so we're going to do 1 foot at a time here. So imagine that you are making a suction cup with the arch of the foot, and we're going to do both sides of the feet. So, and both feet. So we're going to start with the big toe side, and we're going to imagine that we're making, let's see if I can do this, a suction cup with that side. So the big toe comes towards the heel, pulling that arch up. So we're strengthening those muscles on the bottom of the foot. And then relax. So let's do it one more time. Lift and relax. Nice. Let's do the outside edge of the foot. Pinky toe side. So it's a secondary arch, not as big as the inner arch. But same idea. And relax it. Let's do it again. And relax it. Nice. Next, we're going to mess about with the toes here. So we're going to lift the toes up and spread them out. And then see if you can put one down at a time. So maybe you can't do one each individually, but maybe big toe and pinky toe. And then the middle toes. Excellent. And then release that. You can shake that foot out. Let's do the other side. So you're going to start with that arch, big toe side, lifting it up like a suction cup. And then relax it. Do it again. Lift it up and relax. Nice. Other side, pinky toe side, lift that secondary arch up and relax it. Let's do it again. Lift it up and relax it. Excellent. All right, we'll do the toes next. Lift the toes up, spread them out, and then see if you can set down one toe at a time. Excellent. Release, and then if you want, you can shake that foot up. Nice. All right, now let's do our warrior one. So I'm a big fan of warming up the joints, as you know. So we're going to start with the first foot forward. Back foot's turned out at an angle, 45 degrees-ish. Nobody's measuring, just do what's comfortable. So we're aiming the knee towards the second and third toe. If you want to actually, first couple of times, looking at the toes as you're doing it to get it in that right groove. And then we're going to add the breath here. So we're going to inhale with the straight leg, exhale, bend. And then also while you're doing this, think about where those feet are in space on the floor. Big toe, pinky toe, both sides of the heel. Excellent. All right, so we're going to push off, step back or step that back foot forward. And then going to the other side. Same idea. This time we'll feel the foot first before we move that leg. So we're going to inhale, straight leg, exhale, bend. And if you want, again, getting that knee lined up with the toes. And then looking back up. So we've got this torso perpendicular to the floor. We're not leaning forward to do this or side to side. If that back calf is tight, you can bend that back knee a little bit too. Excellent. All right, we're gonna push off, step back or step that back foot forward. And let's add the arms. So there's so many different options with the arms. Let's do this one. So we're gonna turn one foot out, step the other foot forward. I'm gonna face this way for something different this time. All right, we're gonna start with the hands on the heart. Inhale, open the arms out, bend that front knee. Exhale, bring the hands back to the heart, straighten the leg. Beautiful. Inhale, open. Exhale, back. Nice. We'll do one more. Excellent. All right. Push back or step forward. Turn that foot out. Go to the second foot. Same idea. Hands of the heart. We're going to inhale, open. Exhale, close. Excellent. Let's do one more. Nice. Drop the hands, step the foot back or step the back foot forward. Excellent. All right. So next we're going to do our tree pose. All right. So there's lots of options with this. I'm going to show you option one with the feet, and then we'll add the arms. Okay, so one foot gets rooted down. We're going to bring the heel of the other foot over. So check in with this hip. That's exaggerating. Nice and strong here. We're going to engage all the muscles around that hip joint. Heel above the ankle. So this hip is nice and loose. Hands at the heart. And then we're going to grow our branches. So any option with the hands here. I like this little pointer fingers together. Power pose up. Option Y, I've got this wall right here, but you can do a T, or if you want, you can move the arms and sway in the breeze, or if it's raining, whatever you want to do. Or if that feels too unstable, you can keep the hands at the heart. All right, if you have your balance and you want, you can bring that foot up higher, pushing the foot into the leg, opposing forces. And most important, I want to keep that breath going. Excellent. And then when you're ready, coming out nice and graceful. Excellent. All right, you can shake out that straight leg, shake out the bent leg, whatever feels good. Rooting that second foot into the floor, heel above the ankle. Check in with this hip, activating those muscles around that joint. Hands at the heart. We're going to grow our branches. Go straight up, Y, T, moving the arms, keeping the hands at the heart, whatever feels good today. And then if you have your balance, you can bring that foot up higher. If not, keep it on the floor, but just keep the breath going. Excellent. And then when you're ready to come out, coming out nice and gracefully. Excellent. All right, shake it out. So I think we're going to do Warrior 2 with the add-on of high lunge. So I'm going to do it without blocks since I can't see what you're doing. If you want and have blocks and you've done this before and you want to do it with the blocks, go for it. Otherwise, let's just jump in. So starting with the Warrior 2, this front foot, back foot's closer to 90 degrees versus the Warrior 1. We're going to bend that front knee over that front ankle. The further apart the legs are, the more work it is for the thighs, but you want to keep your balance in mind here. So hands at the heart, arms open out to the side. Gazes to the front. Relaxing the arms and the shoulders, extending out through the fingers. And then we're going to do side angle pose, peaceful warrior, high lunge. All right, here we go. Side angle pose, bend the elbow, forearm comes to that front thigh, hand can be on the hip, up towards the ceiling, or the bicep over the ear. This is my favorite. And then we're going to inhale, windmill around to peaceful warrior. Excellent. And then we're going to take this back hand and sweep it under, pivot that back foot, high lunge. Excellent. We're going to do it 2 more times. Back to warrior 2. Side angle pose. Inhale, peaceful warrior. And sweep it under, high lunge. Excellent. Back to warrior 2. And 1 more time through. Side angle pose. Inhale, peaceful warrior. And then sweep it up for high lunge. Excellent. Back to warrior 2. Drop the arms and step the feet back together. All right, going to the other side. Might find one side's easier than the other in our asymmetrical living life. All right, hands at the heart, arms open out to the side, bend that front knee. Nice. Take a breath or so here. Relax the shoulders, extend the fingers. And then here we go. Side angle pose, bend that front elbow. The hand can go on the hip, straight up towards the ceiling or overhead. Excellent. Inhale, windmill around to peaceful warrior. And then we take this back hand, swoop it under, pivot that back foot, high lunge. Excellent. Back to warrior 2. Side angle pose. Inhale, peaceful warrior. And sweep it under, high lunge. Excellent. Warrior 2, 1 more time through. Side angle pose. Inhale, peaceful warrior. And last, high lunge. Excellent. Back to warrior 2. And we'll drop the arms and step the feet back together. Shake it out. All right. Let's do. Oh, we have not done this in a hot minute. Okay. Let's do squat folds. I know I need a better name for that, but that's what they are. That's what we're going to do. Okay. So hands at the heart. We're going to inhale, hands up. And then exhale, fold forward. Arms can come out to the side. And then we're going to inhale, back up. And then we're going to bring the hands together. And then we're going to squat. Only as far as you want. You don't have to go all the way down. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, squat. Inhale, up. Let's do 1 more round. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, up. And exhale, squat. Excellent. All right, from here, we're going to come and sit on the floor. Actually, let me grab something. Okay. But go ahead and sit on the floor. And let's do our open and closed twist. All right, so we're going to bend the right knee. Left foot is extended. Left arm over that left leg. You're going to inhale, lift. Exhale in front of or behind that right knee. Like that or like that. Right hand is behind the spine, pushing into the earth. Inhale, lift. Exhale, turn and look towards that back wall. Excellent. And then we're going to unwind. Extend that left arm over that left leg again. I'm going to hit this wall, but that's okay. Gaze follows the thumb. Inhale. Behind it. Excellent. And then coming back, we'll switch sides. Extend the right arm over that right leg. Inhale, lift. Feel that extension. We did a lot of extending the spine today. And then exhale in front of or behind that left knee. Left hand is behind the spine, pushing into the earth. Inhale, lift. Exhale, turn, look towards that back wall. Excellent. And then unwind. Right arm over that right leg. Open twist. Gaze follows the thumb. Inhale. Excellent. And then we'll bring it back around. All right. We're going to do windshield wipers here. So we're going to bring the hands behind the back, leaning back into the hands, bending the knees, and side to side with the hips. Excellent. Back to neutral. And then let's come onto the spine. So feet up at the top of the mat. We're going to roll gently back onto the spine. And let's do a nice twist here. So we're going to bring the arms out to the side. Left foot comes to the center of the mat. Right leg crosses over the left. We're going to drop the knees over towards the left side of the floor. And then option with the head. You can look left, center, or right. Take a few breaths here. Excellent. When you're ready, we're going to inhale, lift the knees up, keep them crossed how they are. We're going to drop both legs over towards the right. And option with the head, you can look left, center, or right. And if you're feeling any tension here, go back to that little yoga breath where you breathe into the tension and release the tension with the exhale. Excellent. We're going to inhale, lift the knees up, uncross the legs. And then we're going to switch the cross here. Right foot comes to the center, left leg crosses over the right. We're going to drop both knees to the left. And you can look left, center, or right. Excellent. So we're going to inhale, lift the knees up. And then on the exhale, drop the knees to the right. And you can switch the head, left, center, or right. Excellent. Both knees come back up to center and cross. And then let's do we're going to do Apanasana. Let's do both knees. So we're going to bring the knees into the chest, hands on the knees. On the exhale, knees draw into the chest. On the inhale, we release them back out. So we're only moving a few inches back and forth. The shins can be relaxed, or some people like them parallel to the floor. It's a different sensation. Another option here is wide-legged Apanasana. Sorry, I'm having trouble with that word today. A little bit more room for the belly, and again, a different angle into that hip joint. Excellent. Let's bring the hips down, or I'm sorry, the feet down to the mat, and we're going to do, we didn't do a lot of hip warm-ups, so we're going to do 3 rounds of bridge pose. So one is kind of the last one we do is kind of a new one, and it's a bit more advanced. So you can stick with the first 2 if that one seems too much. But let's start. Okay. First one, we're just going to move the hips. So option to have the hands down by your sides, or my favorite, robot arms, fingers point up towards the ceiling. We're going to line up the knees, the hips, and the heels. And then on the inhale, lifting from those hip points, inhale, lift. And exhale, release the hips back down, nice and slow. And again, lift. And exhale back down. Nice, one more time like that. Inhale, lift. And exhale, release. Excellent. Next round, we're adding the arms. Here we go. So we're going to inhale, push the feet into the floor. We're going to lift the arms and the hips. Arms go up overhead to the floor above you. Exhale, arms back down by your sides. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lift. And exhale, release. Excellent. All right. So this last one, give it a try. If it's too much, go back to one of the previous ones. We're going to bring one ankle on top of the other leg, and we're going up with one foot on the floor. And we're going to keep the arms down by our sides. We're going to inhale, lift from the hips. Exhale, release. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale, release. One more time, inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Excellent. Other foot comes down to the mat. Do the other ankle on that second side. Arms down by your side. And here we go. Inhale, lift. Lift from those hips. Exhale, back down. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Excellent. We're going to uncross. And we're going to bring the knees back in. Wide-legged Apanasana, if that feels okay. Or closer, if you like that one better. Exhale, the knees come in. Inhale, release them back out. Excellent. All right, so let's bring, go one more, and then we'll do palm tree pose arms. So let's do this one next. We're going to exhale, knees in, inhale, feet up towards the ceiling, arms overhead, point and flex the feet. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to knees. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, open, point and flex. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to knees. And last one, inhale, open, point and flex. Exhale, bend the knees, hands to knees. Nice. If you want to take a little rocking side to side, you can do that. Sometimes that feels good. Sometimes not everybody likes it. That's okay. All right, let's bring feet down to the mat. Option to leave the legs like this, or second option is to extend the legs all the way out. Arms down by your side. We're going to inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, arms back down by your side. Excellent. Finish the one you're on and do two more. Last one. And then we're going to get ready for our final relaxation pose. Relax the legs and the feet away from each other. Getting any last little wiggles out. Maybe tuck the shoulder blades under. I'm going to sit up so you can hear me better. And let's do a full body relaxation. Walking up the body, relaxing each part as we go. Starting with the feet. Relax the toes. Relax the tops of the feet, the soles of the feet, and the heels. Release the ankles. Relax the calves and shins. Release the knees. Relax the tops of the thighs and the backs of the thighs. Let the pelvis be heavy and sink into the earth. Relax the abdomen. Release the rib cage and let go of breath. Let the shoulders be heavy and sink into the earth. Relax the elbows, upper arms, lower arms. Release the wrists. Relax the hands, fingers, and palms. Relax the throat and the back of the neck. Release the jaw. Let the tongue be heavy and release from the roof of the mouth. Smooth the forehead and face. Let any last thoughts seep out the top of the crown of the head. Let the earth's gravity hold you. Let the air around you breathe you. We'll take the next few moments and just be. Gently coming back into awareness. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers. If you'd like, you can roll your head side to side. When you're ready, and with an inhale, rolling over onto your right or left side. Use your lower arm as a little headrest. Let's take a full inhale, exhale breath here. And again, when you're ready, with an inhale, Pushing up to a comfortable seated position. And to bring breath back into the body and find us safely on our way, let's finish with a sun breath number 3. So this is palms together, elbows together. We inhale, open, exhale, closed. 3 times. So ready, here we go. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Again, inhale, open. Exhale, closed. One last time. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Palms together, back at the heart, and namaste. Thank you for joining me. And we will be back in person, I believe, next week with polls. Bye, guys. Thanks.